and doing weird stuff to them. But you don't mean to.
So this article from CNN says,
Mm-hmm.
the U.S. is on track to experience the fewest recorded deaths from lightning strikes in a single year.
How could you know that?
Who cares?
Yeah, who knows that? But like, how also could you know that? That's my question. It's like, you can't predict. Like, lightning's going to strike here at this point, and no one's going to be there at that point.
Know, and when you look at a person, they know if it's been a lightning strike or not.
No, that's true. No, I mean, like, how do they know it's going to be the lowest deaths? Is it just how it's gone up until now?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess that makes sense. Everyone's staying inside, so it's not like lightning can strike anyone.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Also, people aren't staying inside. Stay inside.
Well, they're staying inside less.
Stay home.
Stay home, idiots. And then go to your job at BJ's where you have to cater to a full house.
Fucking morons.
Fucking morons everywhere. What?
Nothing. I like the idea. That's how we started. It's just aggressiveness. How you been?
I've been pretty good.
Pretty good?
Yeah. Nothing much has happened since we last met. I mean...
Okay. Yeah.
Boring.
Not
boring.
I mean, it's about the same. Just a lot of work. Tired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tired.
You're gonna go to work later today, so...
Yeah.
You're gonna be more tired.
So we should probably just get on with it, yeah?
We should, yeah.
All right.
Save
What's
yourself some
poppin',
time.
players? Welcome to the Two Penny Gamescast, episode 12. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host, Connor Elliott. Connor, say hi to the people for me.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
And what we do here is we like to give you the new news, the new trending topics in the game industry. We'll each come here with our 2 pennies, our 2 topics, if you will, and give you our 2 cents on them. This week, we are going to start off with a little something called Marvel's Avengers. All right?
Mm-hmm. Talk about this again.
This is going to be my first penny. So, this is an article from PC Gamer that says, Marvel's Avengers has shed lots of players, but Crystal Dynamics is confident they'll return. This is written by Fraser Brown. Most live service games, whether they have a phenomenal launch like Fall Guys or a stinker like Anthem, start shedding players. A dip in popularity isn't necessarily a signal of trouble brewing, but Marvel's Avengers is starting to feel a bit like a ghost town on PC. The number of concurrent players on PC regularly lingers around the 1,000 mark, according to Steam charts and SteamDB, leaving people sticking to playing with bots. I'd happily play most of Avengers Initiative portion of the game solo, but missions are a lot smoother when you got a coordinated group. More heroes and missions are coming, but Crystal Dynamics is yet to offer actual dates. When that does happen, hopefully there will be a resurgence, though I worry that it sounds like it's going to be staggered, encouraging people to wait until there's a heap of new stuff to enjoy. In a statement sent to Kotaku, studio head Scott Amos detailed some of the impending additions, though he was vague about dates. Quote, in the weeks ahead, Avengers players will get a new Warzone mission type, Tachyon Rifts, a new outpost like the Helicarrier or Ant-Man's base, that will serve as a hub for future missions and a high-level assault of AIM's cloning labs. Before launch, Crystal Dynamics unveiled its first 2 additional heroes, the 2 Hawkeyes, but a date is yet to be settled on for their arrival. Kate Bishop will appear in Operation Taking Aim, while Clint Barton will make his debut in a 2-part operation, and they're coming in the near future, according to Amos. It's also worth noting that Black Panther is coming.
Yeah.
They delayed his announcement due to the untimely passing of Chadwick Boseman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was well over a month ago, so I'm assuming since they've not actually officially announced Black Panther yet, that it's probably behind the scenes been delayed.
Yeah, pushed back for a while. I mean, they already had enough characters, I feel, coming up. They may have just prioritized those now. Yeah,
the main 6, and then having 2 Hawkeyes was substantial enough for me. As someone who's playing Marvel Avengers off and on, I agree. Like, there's not a lot to do once you beat that campaign. Like, there's like missions that you can go on, but like once you check all of those off, then it's to the grind, and the grind isn't the best right now. Still a really fun game, still fun to play, but I can see why players are like, alright, I'm done. I'm checking out.
Yeah, you haven't seen you play in a while, so I mean.
Well, that's because I haven't played a lot of video games.
That's fair enough. And if you're gonna play a video game, you've been playing things like Hades, so not much reason to go back to Marvel's Avengers right now. One of the issues that I kind of came across when I was first looking at the game is that the content that they were offering, I don't know how much there was going to be at the end of the day, but it didn't even seem like I was going to have any incentive to actually keep playing the game. So
there are some things you can do, but they don't even have like their raid, their equivalent of like a Destiny raid.
That's like I remember. Didn't Destiny have that the day of it came out? You just had to get to it.
Yes.
Like at least one raid. Yeah. See,
I think so. Yes.
With games like
maybe
this,
Destiny 2, it was delayed like a week or something.
Perhaps.
I don't remember exactly. But Destiny 1 definitely had it at launch.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Destiny 2, I don't think did have it, but I think that's an important thing for games like this to have, a big event that you can play and, take a while to finish.
Have heavy coordination.
Yeah. Because I remember that was really one of the best parts about Destiny, is we would all get together and we'd come up with tactics to survive this wave and stuff like that. In fact, I actually, we've said it a lot, but I'd be willing to go back to it just for that alone, because it seems like just a fun way to do games. But with Marvel's Avengers, them not having that prepared really just kind of hurts it really badly.
Avengers does have the advantage, though, of individual hero drops.
Yes.
Which are way more interesting than like a new subclass in Destiny or whatever, because it's a full character with personality and color and charisma and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think to be like, oh, Marvel's Avengers is in trouble and they're probably gonna die out, I think that's a little extreme.
We'll wait and see for that. But
it's a wait and see for that. But I wouldn't compare it to something like Anthem right now. I think it's somewhere in the middle.
Anthem clearly just did way worse out the gate. I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, probably
it's equivalent.
But in terms of like content worth coming back to, Avengers is always going to it's going to be like it's just a simple of Hawkeye. Mm-hmm. Okay, a month later, another Hawkeye. Okay, a month, maybe 2 months later, Black Panther, and then a month after that, Spider-Man, but for PS4 owners because that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And then after that, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, Miss Marvel, I'm sorry, Captain Marvel, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You just go down the line and you just start picking and choosing all these different heroes. You've got enough content there for 2 years, easy.
Now, will it keep delivering in forms of things outside of those characters enough to make people actually want to come back to the game? That's another thing we're going to have to see.
I think people will always come back to see the new hero. Well, maybe not, because they don't always come back for Overwatch.
Yeah. Overwatch.
But there's more buy-in for Marvel heroes than there is for Overwatch heroes.
And Overwatch hasn't had heroes in forever. So.
Yeah, it's a wait and see. I'm still toying around in Avengers. I plan to continue to still toy around. I want to get at least one character to max level. But, until then, we are continuing to wait and see. Now, Connor.
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and jump into your first penny of the day. Let me make my little note real quick. All right. So, Connor, Final Fantasy XVI basic development and scenario production already complete. This is from Gamatsu by Sal Romano. Basic development and scenario production for Final Fantasy XVI are already complete, according to a new recruitment page for the title on Square Enix's careers website. Quote, "We have already completed basic development and scenario production and are continuing to create large-scale resources and build boss battles while expanding on our various development tools," the website reads. Also, most of our staff are carrying out their work remotely. Square Enix is currently seeking final staff to help complete the world of Final Fantasy XVI with various stages and fields, large-scale cutscenes, character actions, and so on. Final Fantasy XVI is in development for PlayStation 5. A teaser website is expected to launch in late October. So, Connor, you as the Final Fantasy XVI fan, what is your read on this?
I was really happy and surprised because, I came off of Final Fantasy 15. That was the last, Final Fantasy game outside of the remake that happened. And that's famous for being in developmental hell. It was announced and didn't come out for years after the fact and was pretty disappointing to a lot of fans. So when I saw this news, I got really, really excited because usually, a common thing that we usually see with games like this is that when they announce something, when can we usually expect games? A year and a half from now, 2 years maybe even. You can never really tell. But with this game, it's already seemingly going to come out next year, which I was surprised that Final Fantasy XVI was being announced as it was, but the fact that it's coming out soon surprised me even more because I was expecting, a little while down the line till we actually got the game.
I have a very different read of this news.
Really, you do?
I have a very different read of this news.
Different text?
Specifically the quotes of create large-scale resources and build boss battles while expanding our various development tools. The individual boss battles can take upwards of a year alone to develop.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I was not familiar with that.
That's a quote I'm pulling from Cory Barlog when he speaks on God of War.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, at least old God of War games have a similar combat system to new Final Fantasy games. Similar, not exactly. Like the bones are kind of there. So yeah, I'm not expecting this game for another 2 years probably.
Really?
But, on games of this scale, that's still a relatively quick turnaround from announcement to release. Especially, compare it to announcements of, let's say, Last of Us 2 to release. That was 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
God of War, the 2018 game, was 2 or 3 years.
Was it really that long?
It was announced...
2016?
I want to say it was announced 2016 E3.
I can believe that.
Came out, early 2018? So yeah, it was about 2 years. So yeah, I'm expecting probably 2020, late 2021, maybe early 2022, depending on what they want to do. It depends on where they found more success with the Final Fantasy 15 release in, what was that, November?
Something
of
like
2015. Do I have that year?
Yeah,
right?
actually, November or October. One of them, you're pretty close to it. Delays happen.
Because Last Guardian was December of that year.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they found more success in the... When did 7 Remake come out? March?
April, yeah. It came out in my birth month.
It depends, where did they find their success in comparison to those two?
You're right.
If they think that, hey, that early spring, era of the year is better for them, then they're going to wait till 2022 to release this.
Mm-hmm.
I would say. Could be wrong. I don't know how far along they actually are in development, and this doesn't actually tell me anything real. This is basic development and scenario production. So
yeah, it seems bigger than it actually may be.
All I would say from that is they've got their combat loop down.
Mm-hmm.
They know what the combat is, and then from there they're just building on combat scenarios, and they're building on
the large scale
animations, and who knows, man? Like entire scenes could probably get reworked based on a direction they want to take halfway through development. So, a whole boss fight could get scrapped and restarted.
Mm-hmm.
Entire cutscenes could have reworks or reshoots or however they produce their cutscenes over at Capcom. I'm sorry, Square Enix. So, some wait and see, but, this is good news. I think this game is more on track than Final Fantasy 15 was, which was
instantly can tell
infamously, 7 years plus?
They announced it as Final Fantasy 13 Versus.
Yeah, it was a different game.
Something like that, yeah.
When it was announced.
14 Versus, I don't know. But
13 Versus, you were right. So yeah, exciting to hear that, things are on track.
I'm just happy it's not developmental hell. That's
what
the
is your
big thing
current?
I love about that.
I am as well. Mm-hmm. What is your current hype level for Final Fantasy 16?
Pretty high. I mean, we talked about it before, and I'm a little bit skeptical about it being like a Final Fantasy game because it seemed the least Final Fantasy from a lot of the images I saw, mainly with the darker tone. And
this feels like a continuation of 7 Remake.
A continuation, like as in terms
of where we're taking themes.
Yeah,
or where we're taking tones.
Right. It doesn't concern me. I'm still really excited for the game. Because either way, it looks like it's just a great game to play, and it seems like it's going to be really badass. But since I haven't seen much, and I don't really have any expectations to begin with, because it did catch me off guard in the first place, I can't say that I'm, extremely hyped about this game, but I am definitely going to play it. It's a Final Fantasy game, so I'm kind of, at this point, locked into playing those games for the rest of my life. So, large-scale cutscenes is one of the things they were working on, so it really, some of the coolest things in Final Fantasy, and from my perspective, comes from those large-scale cutscenes and,
Oh, yeah, the big scale.
Yeah, that's what they were known for back in the day. They did, openings that had these, grand cinematics that for the time were technologically advanced.
You're talking like
7 remake and
you're talking like 12
7.
Are you talking like Final Fantasy 12? Because you're talking back in the day.
Yeah, 12. Even going back to 7. 7 had that opening sequence that took a lot of people away. So
sure.
This, especially since this is going to be on PS5, it could look really, really nice, or at least I'm pretty sure
what they've shown
very nice.
Already looks pretty all right in terms of like character models. The environments look a little dull, but the environments in 7 Remake were pretty bland anyway.
Yeah,
so.
You notoriously did not like those environments.
They weren't good. They weren't good.
I never even noticed that.
They were bad.
Maybe
the character models looked phenomenal.
Maybe it was my nostalgia clouding my eyes, but I never even I didn't even give it a second glance.
It's bad.
It's not amazing. I'm definitely not gonna say that.
The textures on doors look stretched and it looks not cloudy, but like murky, and it just doesn't. It's not detailed enough for what it should have been.
For the AAA game that it was, right?
Well, I think for the level of production around everything else.
Yes.
It just didn't hold up. Still some beautiful moments in that game.
Oh yeah.
I think the Shinra building looks great. When you're climbing the wall, that looks great. I love what they did that in comparison to the original game.
I didn't even remember that in the original game.
It's 2 screens.
Really?
Yeah. It's like a little puzzle sequence that you have to work through, and then there's probably some fights in there. But I had random encounters.
Completely forgot about that.
Yeah, no, it's like 2 screens. It's like how the Ghost train rail sequence is 1 screen, but in Remake it's a 2-hour level.
That probably explains it then. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of padding in that game, but it's all good, so it's fine. So, Connor, let's move on to my second penny of the day. Resident Evil Reboot, an origin story adaptation by Amanda Ndunka and Anthony D'Alessandro. Constantine Film. Oh, this is from Deadline. Constantine Film has set in motion a new adaptation to add to the ever-expanding Resident Evil movie franchise. Constantine and writer-director Johannes Roberts said Tuesday that they have conceived an official origin story adaptation with faithful ties to Capcom's classic survival horror games. This story is set in 1998 on a fateful night in Raccoon City. Starring in the roles of the iconic game characters will be Maze Runner's Kaya Scodelario as Claire Redfield, alongside Hannah John Kamen from Ant-Man and the Wasp as Jill Valentine, Robbie Amell from Upload as Chris Redfield, Tom Hopper, The Umbrella Academy as Albert Wesker, Avon, etc., 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 etc. Quote, with this movie, I really wanted to go back to the original first 2 games and recreate the terrifying, visceral experience I had when I first played them, whilst at the same time telling a grounded, human story about a small, dying American town that feels both relatable and relevant to today's audiences, said Roberts, the filmmaker behind shark thriller 47 Meters Down and its sequel. Franchise producer Robert Kulzer will produce again on behalf of Constantine with James Harris from T-Shop Productions and Hartley Gorenstein. Said Kulzer, quote, after a dozen games, 6 live-action movies, and hundreds of pages of fan fiction, we felt compelled to return to the year 1998 to explore the secrets hidden in the walls of the Spencer Mansion and Raccoon City. So,
are you excited for this, Tavin?
I'm cautiously interested.
You see, when I was reading this article, the thing that kept popping into my mind was the live-action Resident Evil movies that we're familiar with. Just everything surrounding it makes it seem like it's just going to be another one of those.
In terms
of quality.
Here's why I don't think it'll be that.
Okay.
I'm not saying it'll be good, but I don't think it'll be that.
Yeah.
Is they mention Spencer Mansion, which I don't think is even in the other movies we've had.
No.
They mention Raccoon City, and then they talk about how Raccoon City is a small, dying American town.
Mm-hmm.
Never really got the dying American town bit, but the small town bit, definitely. That all, whereas in the movies, Raccoon City is this, like, metropolis.
Yeah.
And it was never that. So those are like little key bits that make me go, oh, okay, maybe.
Maybe they're doing something unique with the
People,
franchise.
Yeah, maybe we're onto something here. People like 47 Meters Down. I've never seen it. You seen it?
No.
I don't watch a lot of
it. There was that shark movie where they went into the underwater caverns and then the shark was there, wasn't it? Or was that another movie?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So, and they keep talking about the original first 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
So these are great things to say as starting points. Now, how will it turn out? We'll see. Does it ever really get made? We'll see. It all just depends. They're only just now shooting the Uncharted movie. They announced that thing back in 2009.
That I'm surprised that's still going on. To be quite honest, I don't know why it's still going on.
We'll see how that turns out.
Yeah. But it does seem like it's handled by people that want to do justice to the source material.
Maybe, fingers crossed.
Oh yeah, right. It seems like that. It definitely doesn't seem that they're just going to be going, the way of the original movie series of just butt-fuck craziness.
Yeah.
But I guess a lot of
it's a wait and see like many things right now.
Yeah,
but
lots of things.
I do have a question about this. We've got games coming out nearly annually.
Yeah.
We've got, especially with Resident Evil 8 coming sometime next year, and then Resident Evil 4 remake. They want to come 2022, but we'll see. With COVID and all that, and let's see how. I'm sure that will probably get pushed. But anyways, so we've got games coming almost annually, especially the last 3 years. We've got a Netflix show coming, and now another live-action movie. Are we banking a little too much on Resident Evil right now?
Yes. I'm starting to think we are. Yeah. Does this franchise really have that much juice to keep people that interested in all these different mediums? Capcom seems to think so.
At this level. Capcom seems to think so. Listen, Resident Evil, in terms of video games, is in a great place right now.
Oh, yeah, totally.
We'll see how that TV show looks. I didn't care for that pitch.
No,
and then this live-action movie is more, we'll see. But let's say, at best, this movie comes out 2022?
Yeah. That'd be a realistic estimation.
What does it look like? How does that feel compared to the games? Where are the games going? Because Resident Evil 8 looks to be taking the franchise in a very different direction.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what they do with Resident Evil 4 remake, because as everyone knows, 4 was a drastic turn. It's a left turn in the franchise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For better, mainly.
For better and
for
worse.
Yeah.
For better and worse.
Mainly for worse.
Well, we have to. The influence of that game is important.
Yes. Yeah, that is true.
The direction of the franchise from there kind of sucks.
Yes.
But the influence of that game is important.
Beyond
so let's see what franchise, they so, and it's a pretty damn good game. So let's see what they do to remake it. But yeah, even as someone who is a Resident Evil fan and loves Resident Evil games, and enjoys the movies for what they are.
Oh yeah, they're fun movies in a certain way.
In the wrong way.
In the wrong way, yeah. Better way of putting it.
I mean, different director, different writer.
Yeah.
We're keeping.
We'll see.
We're keeping Anderson away from this, so that that's cool. So I don't know. We'll find out.
Yep.
We'll find out. But if I were to guess, we're gonna get real tired of Resident Evil real fast.
I mean, a TV show and a movie, that's really doubling down on outside of video games.
Way more than we needed.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into our final penny of the day. Your final penny of the day.
Yes.
My good friend. And that is PlayStation has finally released information on their backwards compatibility for PlayStation 5.
Yeah, coming off the heels of that as we've constantly, said, mishandled announcement of the PS5, they're finally maybe trying to do some damage control to say, okay, here's some information.
Plus, Xbox has just given us great info consistently, and Xbox Series X preview units are out. So I'm not going to read all of this because it's kind of
comprehensive,
bland.
That's another word for it.
It's not fun to read.
No.
So basically, here are the big things. PS4 games playable on PlayStation 5 consoles. The overwhelming majority of 4,000 plus PS4 games are playable on PS5 console. Select PS4 games will benefit from the PS5 console game boost, which may make PS4 games run with a higher or smoother frame rate. Although many PS4 games are playable on PlayStation 5 consoles, some functionalities that were available on PS4 may not be available on PS5. Before purchasing add-ons to play with your PS4 games on PS5 consoles, please try to boot and play your PS4 games on your PS5 consoles to see if you are happy with the play experience. Playing PSVR games on a PS5 console requires a PlayStation VR headset, a PlayStation camera, sold separately, and a PlayStation camera adapter. No purchase required, they say. So where are we getting it? Y'all just giving it to us? What is happening here?
I guess so.
Always update your PS5 console to the latest version. With PS4 only games. While the majority of PS4 games are playable on PlayStation 5, below is a list of PlayStation 4 games that are playable only on PS4. On PlayStation Store, PS4 games that are not playable on the PlayStation 5 will be marked with playable only on PS4. PlayStation 4 only games. DWVR, Afro Samurai 2, Revenge of Kuma Volume 1, TT Isle of Man, Ride on the Edge 2, Just Deal With It, Shadow Complex Remastered, Robinson, The Journey, We Sing, Hitman Go Definitive Edition, Shoudwin, Joe's Diner, and the list is subject to change and excludes demos, media, and non-game applications. And then they continue to talk about how all of this works. Basically, if you have it on disc, just throw it into your PlayStation 5 disc drive. So if you bought mostly physical this generation, and you want your backwards compatibility, probably best to go with that disc drive version of the PlayStation 5.
Right.
Transfer digital games from a PS4 console to a PlayStation 5. You can transfer your digital games and save data from PS4 to PS5 using a Wi-Fi data transfer. You can also access PS4 games on a PS5 console directly from a PS5 extended storage drive. Yeah, that seems to be
the gist of everything.
That seems to be the gist of it.
Yeah, mostly goes into just how you're able to download, like the directions on how to, put your PS4 games that were digital onto PS5. So, I mean, other than the specifics,
there's also some limitations with the share function on PS4.
Really?
Not working.
Yeah.
The menu cannot be displayed during PS4 gameplay on PS5. You can take screenshots and images by pressing the Create button on your DualSense wireless controller to show Create. And they've also talked about how the DualShock 4 won't work with the PlayStation 5, which people were upset about, didn't really understand. It's kind of just how console generations work. I understand that's not the case for Xbox right now, but just because they're doing it doesn't mean PlayStation has to do it.
Yeah, Xbox is the outlier in this situation.
We're not using Wii controllers on our Nintendo Switch.
Thank God.
And GameCube controllers are basically only for Smash Brothers. Which people need to get over the fucking GameCube controller.
You hate it.
But overall, this is great news.
Yeah, very great news.
This is great news. Only 10 games not compatible, and most of these games I haven't even heard of.
Nope. Shadow Complex was the only one I heard of, years ago.
I've heard of Afro Samurai, Shadow Complex, and then I've played Hitman Go.
Okay.
Everything else, no idea what these are.
No
idea.
So I don't think many people are going to be angry over some of these games not being added to the list of things that are going to be playable on PS5.
Yeah, and I'm not rushing to go back to Hitman Go.
Yeah, you don't think you would ever go back to it?
No, probably not.
No. I mean, you played it for a day, it looked like.
It's a short game.
Yeah.
It's a short game. It's a short little puzzle. Good game. Really good game. Really fun. Short game. Nailed it. Got my platinum and dipped.
Yep. That's all you're in there for. Now, I know what you're going to say. And I know this is something you've criticized me for a very long time.
Oh, boy.
You're always hitting on me saying, why do you buy disc, Connor? Why do you buy disc? It's stupid. Why do you buy disc? And I know you saw this information and probably thought, well, guess who's in the right now?
Guess who's saving $100?
Well, guess what? Yeah, that's the thing.
PlayStation 4?
Oh, well, I'm going to keep it. Obviously, I think it's just kind of a good thing to have, just lying around. But I am going to get the disc version. I was considering it even beforehand because I do like my physical games.
Sure.
I like the security of them because I feel like nothing fucky can happen. I know it's like realistically nothing's going to happen if you just digitally download it, but it's just something I like to have.
If you lose your digital license for a game, is it really a game that you were like dying to go back to? Like,
most likely not.
Yeah.
But you know, I've always liked games when they come in as discs. I've always liked box arts. I've always liked, you know, the pleasure of buying a physical game. So this is just giving me more
I understand
incentive.
the appeal. I used to be like that.
Now, this is just giving me more incentive to buy the disc version, which is what I'm going to be ending up doing. Because,
With that
you know, so much
ugly-ass
easier.
PlayStation 5 case. The white banner.
It is bad, isn't it?
That's bad.
But PS4 games. That's
PS4
really
games.
the underlying thing at the end of it all.
Keep your PS4.
But then I won't be able to play it on PS5. It'll look better. It just look.
You don't even care about frame rates.
I do more than you might think. I like it being consistent, and I can expect that from something like the PS5. But one thing I'm curious about with the cross-platforming is that, or cross-compatibility, is it going to, you know, are the servers going to be the same? Like, are they going to be able to keep up servers that were created for PS4 games on the PS5?
I imagine it functions a lot like the Xbox, how Xbox backwards compatibility. Excuse me, tired. How the Xbox backwards compatibility works now, where it basically just throws you into the 360, or like a 360 emulator, and then from there you connect to servers which are run by the publishers anyway.
Yeah.
So if you're throwing in, say, like Rainbow Six Siege for PlayStation 4, and you throw that into your console, I assume it's just going to function exactly like the PlayStation 4 version of Rainbow Six Siege. And it basically just kind of emulates. I'm doing a lot of assuming here based off of how Xbox works, which I'm not exactly sure how the Xbox works either. This is just from my super limited experience. I played Splinter Cell Conviction and the first Mass Effect for like 3 hours combined. And I was like, all right, yeah, these are still those games. So I assume it's going to be sort of an emulator, and then it'll throw you into the matchmaking servers that are already existing.
Yeah. Compatibility is a weird system to understand if you don't know the ins and outs of it.
Especially in the digital age.
Yeah, that's becoming more and more complicated.
Connor, how much do you, in general, care about backwards compatibility?
I care about it a lot, because the more you go down the line, the easier it is to not be able to play games that you played back in the day anymore. Because usually what you have to rely on, especially back in the day, is for a remaster to come out. And for them to say, okay,
well,
now,
that's how today works.
yeah, but now you have an easier way of just playing the games you already own.
Like, you could play all PlayStation 1 games on your PlayStation 2. And for a while, PlayStation 3 was backwards compatible.
Yeah, but then, see, that's the thing. It just kind of, it sometimes kind of fizzles out. With this one, it's more of a set thing that you're now going to be able to play PS4 games on your PS5.
Well, it didn't, I would argue it fizzled out, except for the current generation that we're in now. It's just that backwards compatibility on PS3 caused the console to be $600, so they ripped that out.
That was the controversy.
Yeah, so they ripped that out so that they could drop it to $400 or whatever it was, $300, and then jumped from there. And then PlayStation 4, the big issue there is the cell processing on the PS3s, which, from all reports, were a pain in the ass, and then Xbox fumbling the ball out the gate.
Yeah.
So all of this backwards compatibility talk, I think, is in response to the way Xbox has been positioning themselves for the last 4 years now, 4 or 5 years, somewhere around there, where they've just been consistently hitting all the right beats again and again and again and again, ever since Phil Spencer took over. You know, it was because backwards compatibility on Xbox One was not supposed to work. Like, they came out messaging, it's just not going to happen. And PlayStation did the same thing. And then Xbox made it work.
Yeah.
So now we're here, and it's like, okay, no, backwards compatibility is a staple. You have to have it.
I think that's just a good thing to have in general. Like, there's not really any negatives to it.
How many people are really going back and playing old games?
You know, I think more than you might think.
And
it's hard to tell.
How many of those games are you actually playing? Like, you know, are we really playing Killzone Shadowfall? Like, do we really need backwards compatibility for that?
Games like that, no. But then you have things like your Uncharted 4. Like, what have you... obviously, you probably won't go back to that. Or the Uncharted Collection, I think is a better way to describe it. better example to use. Would you just want to just go back and play that sometime? And if you can just easily play it on your PS5, it's
At
like,
some
well,
point.
whatever. Yeah.
Probably.
It's just convenience, you know?
Yeah, sure. No, don't get me wrong. It is, and I agree. I think if you don't do backwards compatibility, you're missing the point. I just don't know how important it people tout it as like almost equivalently important as like how well the hardware runs. And I don't think it's that important. I think it's like C tier level of importance, and like even that low C tier. Because I even though I'm someone who goes back all the time and replays video games, like random games all the time. As example, I just platinumed Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah, it came out a while ago.
That's a 2004 game remastered in 2011 or something.
Something
I
like
don't
that,
even
yeah.
remember.
For the Xbox 360 as well, which is how I played it.
Yeah, so, you know, I do that, but like, I feel like most people just buy, you know, they buy their new Call of Duty, they buy their new Madden, and then they, you know, get the big names of the year. You know, your Cyberpunks and your God of Wars and your Spider-Mans. And then, you know, they're good with that.
You see, with things like that, though, like Call of Duty and Madden, those aren't made. That's not the reason why they have this backwards compatibility.
Yeah, I'm sure. Honestly, I'm surprised that these are the only games that are listed, and it's not like Madden 17, Madden 18, Madden 25. You know, all those, you know, whatever games.
Yeah, I guess the way they're doing it just kind of makes those things work anyway. So there's no reason to not have them on that. You know,
probably there's probably some kind of. But I imagine they had to go to like every game.
They might have
every individual game.
Like I said, compatibility, backwards compatibility, kind of the thing that's beyond me, the specifics of it. I just like what the result is, and as long as it's successful, that's kind of fine with me.
It's great news.
Yeah,
it's good news. It's fun news.
Yeah,
nice. All right, Connor. So that's our 2 sets of 2 pennies.
Yep.
So what have you been playing, my man?
Well, I've been playing 2 games specifically. One of them. Way more than I thought I would yesterday, actually. The 2 games are Genshin Impact and Baldur's Gate 3. So, to start off with, the one that I had the least experience with so far is Baldur's Gate 3. So, it got released for early access, so the entire...
What is Baldur's Gate? Let's start with that.
You're right. Baldur's Gate is a game series, a game franchise, that's just video game D&D. It's the mechanics of D&D in video game format.
Okay.
You know, it's more limited than the actual tabletop game of D&D, which, you know, I'm assuming everyone kind of knows what D&D is. But instead, it's a lot more on the rails. Because,
so how does this look? How does it...
So the issue that I've come across is that my PC is kind of older than most people's, and it doesn't have the recommended, you know, bits and pieces that can make the game work as well as it should. So I've kind of been at a point where I don't know if the things I'm seeing are messing up as a result of my PC not being up to date, or the game just being in early access and it being buggy. I'm more.
It's in early access right now?
It's in early access right now.
Oh,
yes,
I got
released
it
for it. No, early access. In fact, just to get this out of the way, it's only. They said there's around 25 hours of content with more to come later. All of the classes and races that you would probably have in, you know, a finished game aren't there right now, and we're going to see more of that later. And like I said, the bugs. There's lots of bugs from what I was seeing, and I'm leaning on the side of it just being a buggy game, because I've been playing with friends. It's multiplayer. And everyone that I've played with has had some kind of bug encounter one way or another. Even, like, our friend Glenn, he has a very good PC. It should be able to handle it, but he's even had some weird, you know, pop-in stuff and
probably
long
just
loading
some early
times.
access issues.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking it is. But specifically, a good example was early on when the game first started, like at the beginning sequence, we were playing multiplayer, and we entered into a cutscene, and things were popping in. It was really glitchy, and Glenn's character model literally slithered onto the screen. Like, I don't mean that metaphorically. He was on the ground doing like snaky movements and then shot up straight to where he was in the frame with his hands upturned and like bent inwards.
What?
It's very surreal moments like that happen all the time.
Fucking hilarious.
Oh, it's funny. It's not like I wasn't sitting there like, this game sucks. I paid $60 for this. I just laughed.
So what is the gameplay of this game?
The gameplay. It's a top-down strategy game. So
okay.
It's made by Larian Studios, which made Divinity. Original Sin.
Okay.
So you have a party, and you control them and move them around the map. You select actions that they can do. So I never played Divinity Original Sin, so I don't know how. Apparently, it's very similar But I am familiar with D&D, so the way it works is that you usually have an action that you can do things like hitting, casting spells, doing some kind of, special
Each party member
thing.
has their own abilities.
Right, everything has their own abilities. And then a bonus action which you can use to consume certain items, push enemies, jump, things like that. So it's when it comes to the gameplay
Are you
so
on
far,
grids or are you on?
no, you're just on a
sort of just
level
a field?
platform. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, but it's very what's the word I'm looking for? It has multiple layers to it, so you can jump up on areas. Enemies can be above.
It's got
you.
verticality.
Verticality. That's a better word that I was looking for. So it's got things like that. It's very, very, very strategic. You got to coordinate with your teammates if you're playing multiplayer, or know what your party members are capable of, so you can properly tell them what to do and win fights. Because fights can be pretty hard sometimes. You can just because damage is just randomly done, so you can just take a hit and die. And,
Okay.
That's the end of that.
Is there like a permadeath thing, or is it?
Yes.
Okay.
There's permadeath, but you have scrolls of revive that you can use, and you get 2 when you first start out. But beyond that, I don't know exactly what happens. I don't know if you can just go and revive them later if you find one of these scrolls. There's lots of unanswered questions with these games, and any issues that we encountered, we would try
you just haven't played enough to answer these questions.
Yes,
Okay.
and there's not really responses to those questions online either. So a big issue that I've come to is that I'm constantly just like, how do you do this thing? How do you join campaigns? Like, how do you bring other players in? So many questions, so many unanswered questions that I'm just waiting for the game to be developed
To
more.
where you're just you're lost in menus, or
No, not menus, just game mechanics.
there just doesn't seem to be ways to do this, or
It doesn't seem like there's ways to do it. Like, so,
Interesting.
as far as I know, unless there's a small little thing somewhere that can just say, this is how
So
you
in-
get your party member in here.
in single player. Well, how many members are in your party?
It seems 4.
4?
Four,
Okay,
yes.
so in single player, you control all 4 of those characters?
If you have a party of normal people, yes. Of
Player
computers, yes.
Yeah, okay.
But player characters, each person controls their individual one, and you can move at the same time. So it leads to some really cool moments in combat.
You're saying in multiplayer.
In multiplayer, yes.
Each one controls one.
Yeah,
Okay.
each person controls their own character that they create. And one of the issues we kind of came into is if someone wants to join in with their character, can they do that? If they can, how can they do it? It's faulty right
How
now.
does leveling work with that then? If you have a
Exactly.
higher level character and you bring it into someone's lower,
No clue. Well, that's the thing. I don't even know if you can do that. You can bring other characters
or
into
if you
your
just
game.
have to pick someone that you have to pick someone else. So. Did you guys play together at all when you tried to do this?
Oh yeah, we played together most of it. Actually, we kind of encountered some.
So did you solve these?
No.
Answer.
That's why they're unanswered. We don't
How
know.
are they unanswered if you brought them in?
Oh, we had to start the entire game over.
Oh,
Yeah, we had to start from the beginning, and after that point,
Oh, do you think it's just
No.
sort of like a campaign that you have to commit to?
yeah, it seems like it right now. That's what it seems.
That would
like.
make sense. It's not the most.
It makes sense.
It
but
makes sense, mechanically and how you build your game, but it's not the most
No.
convenient way to build all that up, especially since just don't suck the bottle.
I didn't mean to. That's why
wait
I,
for
did-
the-
I
wait
did-
for the water
I-
to come to you.
I drank the water and a little bit of air. I used too much power. Tavin.
Because you're sucking on the bottle.
You know,
You did it again.
I did it on purpose. Because you called me out on it. The gameplay itself is very, very fun, actually. So, even though it's very difficult, it's fun to coordinate with your friends, which is how I've played the game so far. And there's,
So, my question is in multiplayer, if there's permadeath, and if your character dies, you're just done? You're out of that campaign, or?
it seems you can just load things. So there's still a loading system.
We
so
can talk about a save points.
You
or
can
whatever?
save,
Okay.
the game and make sure that doesn't
Set
happen.
points or just whenever you want.
Whenever you want, and set points. Well, set points, yes. But you should never rely on the set points. You always have to save, especially with the game being buggy.
Yeah.
Because, one of the things that happened last night, to explain why it's buggy, is that there was a tense situation that we entered into, and we had done this part before, because we had to start over a new campaign. So we go into the conversation to talk to these people, and then it pulls us out of the cutscene, and we're in combat with these people, and we die. Because it's not like you were really supposed to get into fights with these guys, a straight up fight at your level. So we had to start back far, far away because
sucks.
of this simple, glitch that happened. Yeah.
That blows.
And it seems like I've seen just other people say the same thing of just, instances of glitches happening that make them have to do parts over again.
Interesting.
But even despite all that, like I said, the game is very fun. It plays like D&D, which, D&D has a lot of mechanics, so it's kind of hard to describe it in a simple sentence beyond what I've already said. But it has a lot of potential to grow, because it is in early access, and they've promised more developments coming on the way. But as of right now, I've enjoyed the time I've had with it, despite the bugs. I haven't done a single-player campaign, so I haven't really gotten to the amount of side content that's available in the game, which is really what I'm waiting to get down into. So my experience with Baldur's Gate 3 is actually pretty limited as far as other people have been, playing it.
Okay. And then how about the other game?
Genshin Impact. So Genshin Impact is it's a open world action adventure gacha game. So
Gacha
game. Yeah. So what a gacha game is it's a game. There's lots. It's usually on your phones, and it can take the form in many different ways. So, for example, Arknights. Did you see that? That you've probably seen that ad on YouTube a lot of the time.
Which one?
Arknights. It's like
Never
those anime girls. No?
Never heard of it.
Okay. Well, and by the way, these are almost always in anime styles, which
Lord.
Genshin Impact is heavy into that style. So you, for example, would probably be turned off by it.
Yeah.
But pretty much it centers around you having certain characters that you can play as, and you roll for these characters using in-game currency, which you can also use out-of-game currency to buy. And when you do that, you can get new characters that all have their own abilities, and you can play as. So it's basically an alternative way to do DLC, if you're looking from an outside perspective for someone who's not familiar with gacha games. But, the game plays very open-worldy, so it's a lot of just running around, hitting things with, the powers that you have and the weapons that you use, because each character usually has a designated weapon, whether it be a sword, a great sword, a spear, a magic, a bow and arrow, things like that. But the story sucks. It's not good. It's not good at all. But the character models are nice.
I'm sorry, this is a third-person action game?
Third-person action game, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now, the character models are very, very nice. If you like that anime aesthetic, which some people get turned off by, but I really, really like it. And it did seem from the outside a little bit samey, but the game plays very, very fun. It's very explorative. So you're running around finding waypoints to, travel around the map and fighting new enemies and trying to level up and things like that. And it's taken a lot of inspirations from other games. So the thing that it's been compared to a lot is Breath of the Wild, because it has lots of open environments with trees and fields and running around fighting, random enemies and getting chests and things like that.
I'm not giving Breath of the Wild that. Breath of the Wild doesn't have that. Like it doesn't have it doesn't have capitalization on that. We had that before Breath of the Wild.
No, but here's why I'm saying that. It's like that because a lot of things seem very similar to Breath of the Wild. Like you kind of run in the same way, in a similar way. You have a glider that works like the exact same way. It's a worse glider, but it works very similarly. The cooking mechanic is very similar because it's your entire health system is based around having food and eating it, and the way you cook is done differently, but it's just throwing ingredients in a pot and cooking it, like in Breath of the Wild. Yeah, and one thing that I also found out actually just this morning was there was this character who's referred to as Cat Girl Virgil because they look like a cat girl, and they have a similar way they play to Virgil from Devil May Cry 4. Now, what happened is that someone did a tweet.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at gameplay now.
Yes.
Yeah,
See, okay,
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, exactly. It's Breath of the Wild. But the thing that I saw earlier this morning is side-by-side comparison of this one character who's been compared to Virgil with Virgil from Devil May Cry 4. And dude, it's the same. No, exact same sword movements, same.
I'm looking at
everything.
how they're shooting bows and arrows at a, what is this called? A ruined guard? Yeah, this is legit just... Yeah, this is Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
It's got more action. It looks like faster pace, but...
It's very much faster paced, and there's a lot more... The combat itself actually has its own, system of how you do things, which is...
got like a wolf spirit thing happening? What's going on?
Yes, because what you have is each character has an element. Lightning, wind, water, fire, ice.
Yeah.
And something that you do
We're switching characters here?
Yes. So
I'm sorry, I'm
No, yeah, I know,
jumping around.
No, you're fine. Exactly. You have different party members. You have 4. And it is co-op, too, so you can have 4 players that you just play with normally, friends and such. But generally the way the game works is that you have 4 party members, and you could switch between them at a moment's notice, pressing 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the keyboard. And generally the reason why this is the way it is because of those elemental powers that each character has. And what you're supposed to do is hit them with something like a water attack. And then you go in and switch to your lightning character, which causes them...
they wet.
Yeah, it does something called like a overcharge, which shocks them multiple times when you affect them with, your shock ability.
Makes sense.
And you can freeze someone with ice. Well, you can put water on someone. And then you can also switch to fire, which vaporizes the water and can... that's kind of
I feel
a weird...
like that would just negate.
It does its own thing. It's very weird.
Okay.
Nothing negates anything. All of it works together.
Basically
in
combine
tandem.
your shit.
Yeah, you combine your stuff and chain attacks together, which is going to be very important when you go into things like multiplayer and co-op, which is going to involve you, all having different builds so you can more effectively take down enemies with these powers. And enemies also have element types associated with them, so some enemies may take fire attacks better than others.
Of course.
Actually be immune to the effects of fire. Mm-hmm. Some of them will be, in that case, very effective against when water is used against them, when water-based characters are used.
Of course.
And it's pretty simple, but there's lots of different complex ways you can combine different powers to take down enemies, which makes the game have a more unique element when you, put aside the very similar things when compared to things like Breath of the Wild and, Virgil's gameplay from Devil May Cry, a game from 2010 or 8 or something like that, which is kind of weird. But I haven't played co-op yet, and I've heard co-op is kind of broken.
Did you not play it last night?
I played it by myself last night,
okay.
Which I'll get into my experience with what I was doing.
Oh, boy.
But apparently co-op is kind of, from my friend who has played it, so that you can get chests when you join someone's, world, but other players can't access it except for the home world character. So basically, loot is just centered around the person whose world you're in, the host. Yeah.
So if you're jumping in, you're not
really getting anything. Exactly. Co-op's kind of messed up. Yeah. But this game came out 2 weeks ago. It's new, brand new. So.
Well, that doesn't.
No, I know. It's like the problems. I'm expecting them to be changed. It's not good.
These aren't new ideas.
No, these aren't new ideas. It's not good, but I'm hoping that things are going to change. This game definitely has a lot of potential to just kind of fall flat on its face as time goes on. But, as of right now, it's actually just a fun game. It's a fun game to go around and jump around and play. But what I was doing yesterday is where those gacha elements come in. Because gacha games are known for you spending so long grinding for things.
What does this mean, gotcha? Like
gotcha. Oh, I'm sorry if I didn't explain it well.
They just got you in your loop, or what?
So you just roll for items, and more specifically, what you're trying to do, roll for characters, because there's a lot of characters in the game, and you don't have access to them all. So to unlock them, you do random rolls that you get to hope to try and get these characters.
Okay, so these rolls are like you just press a button and then hope for the best. And
yep. It's very
okay,
gambly. It's like loot boxes, but loot boxes that are very integral to the game. And so far, you can just do it in-game. You don't have to spend money outside of it, which obviously that's an easy way to do things.
But there is an option to buy shit?
Oh, of course. Oh, no, I don't know, buy things directly. I'm not quite sure. I didn't navigate those menus as much, because what I did is I wanted to, as of yesterday, yesterday was the final day where it was going to be very easy to do rerolls. So what I was doing for hours... I don't know why. I really got into the mindset of a typical gacha gamer, because what I did was start the beginning sequence over, and over again to where I did it 5 times by creating new accounts each time to try and get better rolls. After,
You could have just played Smash with us, man. That sounds like so much more fun.
Oh, it would have been. This wasn't a good thing. This was not like, I got to play it a bunch of times over and over again. It was terrible. And I did it, and I got, I guess, people that I liked.
Like, this isn't even like a fun,
No, not fun, playable.
Like how Destiny does their shit.
No.
Or
no.
Where the grind, sure, you're replaying levels again and again, but, it's fun.
No, not at all.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So, that's what some people might expect when they play this kind of game. That's just how gacha games work, is that you really sink a lot of time into trying to get those rerolls so you get better characters.
That alone turned me off entirely. Oh, I wasn't going to play this game anyway, but I
would not recommend this game to you at all. I would never.
To me.
No, to you. Yeah. Now, it is free, which is one of the good things about it. Yeah, it was free to download. It still has a lot of content just there for you. Out from the gate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you should have led with that.
Oh, well, the gacha elements wouldn't be as, would be terrible if you had to pay for the game.
You had to pay for it and then they were still there?
Because gacha games, you've never paid for gacha games. You just get them, and then you spend money in the game.
All right.
Yeah, but it's very fun. Glenn actually started playing it as well, and he enjoys it as well because the combat is very fun. It's very fast paced. There's lots of options you can do, both in single player and in co-op. And I'm going to play this game more, but I think there is going to be a wall where eventually it's just going to be, the daily grind after, you reach a certain rank. But I guess that's just something for me to find out on my own because I'll keep playing it.
Drop-off point there.
Yeah, possible drop-off point. Yeah.
Okay.
But those are the two games that I've been playing.
And you plan on going back to Baldur's Gate?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. And it goes without saying.
All right.
I mean, I put $60 into the game, early access. Things are just going to become more and more and more.
Depend on you to come to this show with some weird shit, bro.
Oh, weird. Well, Baldur's Gate 3 is actually a very popular game.
No, not that one.
Genshin Impact is very, very...
No idea what that
something
is.
I never expected to play. Never. Gacha games, or anything relating to gacha, isn't something I do. But both games were fun.
Okay. Well, I haven't been playing anything this week, really.
No.
One, I haven't had that much time. Work has been killing me. And two, I've been in a bit of a gaming fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
So, I boot a game up, and then I get distracted, I get on my phone, I'm on Twitter, I'm on YouTube, all these things. I just haven't been in the mood. But maybe that'll change this next week, because I started this Hades run last night, and it's looking like a good run. I had to stop halfway through, but it's looking like a good run. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to jump back in.
Did you beat those two bosses you were stuck on?
No.
No? Yeah, that's what you're trying to get to?
No. Well, I haven't played the game, really.
No, yeah.
I toyed around with some Persona 5, but, didn't make any substantial progress. I beat the third boss, and then I was like, all right, that's enough. But, being a boss, that's, 20 minutes of work.
Yeah, not really that much.
Played around with some Ghost of Tsushima, just exploring the map, getting my little fox dens, all that. It's just light little touches.
One of those days.
I'm just lightly touching all these games, not committing any serious time to any of them.
No, I actually just recently came out of a slump like that, where I was just, playing old games and not really branching out, even though I had opportunities to branch out.
I'm hoping to get out of it before the Watch Dogs hits, because I want to finish. I'm gonna beat Hades.
Yeah.
I want to beat Mario Galaxy. I want to get back to Ori. I want to fucking eventually finish off Ghost, slowly but surely, because we've got.
I haven't even finished that game.
We've got Watch Dogs at the end of this month. We've got Assassin's Creed shortly after that, and then Cyberpunk after that, and then the Ghost of Tsushima multiplayer stuff is coming out. We got a busy fall. I need to get my shit together.
Yeah. You want to get it prepared in time so you can actually play some of these great games that are coming out.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm going to play these great games regardless. But
but you want to be inspired. You want to play them at the time when they come out.
Yeah.
Actually, oh boy, I can't wait to get home and play Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
So hopefully you get in that mood.
Yeah, so hopefully I'll have it together by next week. Probably won't have anything new to talk about. It'll probably just be I played more of this and played more of that.
Got back onto the games that I, got off.
So... went over to my buddy Phil's house.
Played some Smash
Bros.
Bros.
I guess our buddy now, because he's part of the group now.
He has come into the group.
He's come into the group. So we played some Smash. We did the normal thing where you cycle through your mains, and I just fucking crushed him.
I was going to ask that.
I was kicking the shit out of him, dude. Oh, it was so good. And then we went into the C tier characters or whatever. They're all right, let's just play around and have fun. And then he started beating me on those, but those don't really count. Those are just kind of the fun whatever.
It doesn't count when I lose. Of course.
Huh?
It doesn't count when I lose.
Well, I didn't lose all of them.
But I know, but
he just started winning. The difference is when we were playing the mains, I was crushing him. And then when we went to the random characters or whatever, it'd be a back and forth, and I'd win one, he'd win, maybe two or whatever. But these are characters that you don't know how to play that well, and you're not top of your game. And then we ended it off with jumping back to mains, and he got a good win there at the end. So he pulled it back a little. He got a moral victory.
Yeah.
Yeah, moral victory.
Are you saying this just because Phil might hear this and he's just you don't want him to? No. You don't want to be too braggy.
No, I'm just fair. No, I mean, if you looked at the numbers, I fucking crushed him.
Okay,
I fucking crushed him.
So would you say that you're a better player than Phil? A better Smash player than Phil?
Slightly, yes.
What?
Slightly, yes. It's not like you and me, where there's a bit of a gap between you and me.
Mm-hmm. Still, fights happen and they can go either way. Between
us?
Yes, between us.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's mostly that I just know how to drag it out to the final stop.
I just can't finish with you. Him,
fucking like I 3-stocked him at least once last night. Like,
feels good, doesn't it?
You and I rarely 3-stock.
No, we barely do. Yeah.
Almost never. And if it is, it's like one of us is playing somebody we don't know, and the other one is just like playing someone who they dominate with, or something.
Or we just suck at that day, or that match.
Sometimes you just suck. And maybe Phil was having an off day, because I've seen him play better.
Yeah.
But,
It happens.
fucking crushed him last night, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Fucking crushed him, dude. It was nasty.
Would have
He was
enjoyed
getting
doing
triggered. He was like, Joker's an S-tier character. He's whack. I'm like, he's not whack. He is S-tier.
He is totally S tier. He's not whack, though. He isn't.
No.
No. Very good character.
Very good character. Great character. He's like, I'm just mad because my Incineroar's getting his shit pushed in.
Well, that's the problem.
Your Incineroar kind of sucks.
Incineroar. It's not good.
His recovery's terrible.
It's terrible.
It's one of the worst recoveries ever.
Yeah. At least Simon's can, save you. Even if it's very limited.
Yeah. Well,
it doesn't just kill you.
Even like Lil Mac, his recovery doesn't destroy you. It's just limited. Incineroars will kill you if you use it wrong. That's crazy. Anyways, my Donkey Kong was on point last night, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't even do any, I did a couple times just for fun, for shits and giggles, but I didn't even do any of my my cheat kills where I grab you and just throw you off the bottom of the map. I did it
yeah, you do love doing those.
I did it maybe twice last night, but as you know, I'll do it 5 times.
You'll do it just because you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Last time we played with
he almost made it back.
Oh, he did. Yeah,
he was playing DDD, and I threw him, and he flew down, and he's like, "I can fly, you idiot!" And then he did his recovery and missed the ledge and went, "Fuck."
Oh, that happens. I mean, that's DDD's jump.
It scared me because I was already taunting. Because I was already taunting, and he's like, "I'm about to make it back. I don't know why you're." I was like, "Oh no, oh no!" And then he did
taunting,
make it back,
dickhead.
Anyways, that'll be about it for episode 12 of your Two Pennies Gamescast every Monday, 8 a.m. on YouTube and SoundCloud. More to come in the future. But until then, everybody, have a great week.
Bye, guys.